All right, so the disparity study, we presented on this in several different places, and so I'm not going to cover too much on this. What I'm going to cover is just the basic calculation of the disparity study. So a lot of us have interacted with the study, a lot of us have seen some of the information about our study. What I'll tell you is that a state study is different than a Department of Transportation or FAA study or local municipality study. We are talking about food, but it's not apples to pizza slices or something else. I don't know a good analogy because I'm bad with it. So, but when folks talk through this, they may not be talking about the same thing. So I ask you to be wary of expertise. So participation, that's the contract utilization. The availability, this is the art in statistics, but this is basically what we reached out to many constituencies across the state, and we wanted to determine availability of the contracting. So the actual participation divided by the perceived availability times 100 gives us a disparity index. This is taken by the courts to give us an inference or not. That's important, or not of discrimination. A substantial underutilization of 80 or less is taken by the courts as an inference of substantial underutilization. So I didn't say any other word. An inference of substantial underutilization. I didn't say discrimination, I didn't say racism, I didn't say anything else. This is important for the courts. I want you to remember this. So our results, we found that about 34% of the Oregon available businesses wanted to participate, but only 11% got to participate. But of those that participated, less than 3% were certified. That's the baseline results. And then I emphasize it because why not? Right? And that way you can look at the 542, 548 page study and really get all the results, because that's where all your answers will be. But we'll see if you read it. All right, so we found disparities in most demographics that we examine and most bodies of work. We've shown this slide deck several times. I'm not going to drone on it. Where my time? All right, so the structure of success. I want to get right into this because this is the important part. So what we've done is built a disparity study that kind of creates the foundation, the Office of Procurement Equity, and then kind of our next steps, which is a small business program. And so I'm going to explain it in a better way. So everyone understands a three-legged stool, right? Most of the time. I don't know. I built this with shapes and PowerPoint, so forgive me, all right? It's like I tell my team I'm not allowed to say this, but I got my GED, guys, so what do you expect? Anyway, so so what we have is a foundation for that stool to stand on. That's the study. The study creates the stool. Creates the foundation for the stool to stand on. So then you have one of the legs, which is the quantitative data. These are the tangible, measurable things. So you cannot measure a thing that you can't lift and put back down. These are the tangible things that we could actually create a data point with that we could lift and put back down. The other side, which is a little bit more fuzzy, but this is the research that I'm involved in because I call myself a social scientist, is qualitative data. So this is the information regarding the why. Why do we see what is? But this is the harder part that most folks can't understand. Case law. The case law creates the action. It sustains the action. Take away one of these things, you do not have a foundation for a small business program. Now notice there's a gap between the stool and the small business program on this graphic. And I thought about this as I was like, yeah, that's on purpose. No, that's because I didn't have time enough to connect everything. But then I thought between the stool and the small business program is millions of houses of cards. And these millions of houses of cards are held up by, so the Office of Procurement Equity, can you please stand up? Any other public servant in the building, please stand up. Anyone that's formerly been a public servant, please stand up. Anyone that's a business connector, please stand up. Anyone that likes businesses with minorities, please stand up. Anyone that connects with other people, please stand up. If you like yourself, please stand up. If you love yourself, I see you guys, please stand up. You can sit down, it's okay. Now, everyone that is a part of the Office of Procurement Equity, please sit down. You guys are part of this office. We are holding all those house of cards up. That's the only way, especially this gentleman that is really inconspicuous and does not like to be, anyway. So, this is a roadmap to all the stuff that we did. Some of y'all was with us. We've done lots of stuff. I'm not going to drone on it. We did lots of other stuff too. I'm going to share these slides, guys, but you could see that Kelly Stevens Molnar, she got an award from our governor. It was pretty significant, but that was one person. All y'all deserve this award. Y'all did the work. We appreciate you. We did more stuff. We involved more folks. I do see Renee up there in the picture, but she ain't looking up, so it's okay. All right, so the small business program, what we've done is these things. This is what really is the essential functions. These are just words, all right? We're about action. We're about creating the action. That's why the folks are here. Again, I'm going to share these slides. So today we're really talking about working together and measuring our progress and doing all the next steps and really moving forward in an actionable way. So what I'm going to say is that I want you to stay engaged with us and really connect with us. We're going to be sharing lots of data and lots of information over the next few years. Honestly, this work is going to take a long time. And so I'll share these slides again, but these are just some of the main facts. Again, we have a newsletter, and I hope you subscribe to it. It has some good information. It had this event on the newsletter. Yeah, it went out last night, but we're in government. It takes a while. It has to get some approvals. I mean, give us a chance. But yeah, and so that's the bigger thing. And so let me, I'm going to end with this because this is where I kind of want to get to. So what did Chris do on, come on, Chris. I got it. I almost got it. I did it. I got my GED. Okay, so what did I do on MLK Day? All right, because I noticed this big picture of Martin Luther King, and I had like this thing in my head, like, where the fact is, I don't know if we connect to enough of that history ourselves. So I'm a fool. And the day before MLK Day, I went to the Presidential Library of Jefferson Davis. If you don't know that name, you need to Google search. And that's in Gulfport, Mississippi. That's a whole different thing than what I'm showing you right now. This is the Civil Rights Museum in Jackson, Mississippi. What you see is a couple different things about the history of the civil rights movement. The next day, or that afternoon, I went over to Medgar Murley Evers' house. I always butcher her name. And so I just want to read this because this is what happened on June 11th of 1963. On June 11th of 1963, President John F. Kennedy spoke to the nation in a televised address from the Oval Office. The report to the American people on civil rights called on all Americans to reject the idea of inequality of races by asking Congress to enact legislation addressing the long-delayed implementation of Brown versus the Board of Education desegregation decisions. It ought to be possible for every American to enjoy the privileges of being American without regard to his race or color. I would say they, them, and his and her. But anyway, Kennedy said, Medgar had called from the office that day encouraging Murley to watch the address. He would not be home to watch it with her and their children. This is from the Library of Congress, by the way. Google search away. It was another late night organizing and attending meetings. His role as secretary for the Mississippi NAACP field office kept him endlessly busy. Medgar returned home just after midnight. Murley and the children had waited up and were watching TV together. They heard Medgar's car in the driveway, then they heard a shot. The children immediately responded as they practiced. They fell to the ground. They made their way to the bathroom. The other children helped 3-year-old James into safety of the tub. 1963, y'all. before joining the adults outside. Meanwhile, Murley stepped into the carport to find her husband collapsed and bleeding, clutching t-shirts he had carried from the car. They said, "Jim Crow must go on them." That's what the t-shirt said. He had been shot in the back. In the ensuing chaos, Murley and neighbors came to Medgar's aid. Others called the police, who arrived in minutes. The children called for their daddy. Rather than waiting for an ambulance, Medgar was loaded into a station wagon, raced to the hospital with a police escort. Medgar Evers died at University Hospital from trauma and blood loss. And that's where I'm going to leave it, because what you all don't know is this is what starts everything. Unfortunately, it's the same year that JFK gets assassinated. This is why we don't hear this. Then there's several other assassinations. There's several other things that happen, really bad stuff, right? My point with this is a good point. It's okay. Things were bad. Things can be bad. We all can get through it. We can persevere, and we can do it, right? But we got to know that history in 3D. We can't just watch documentaries. We can't just do the thing. All right? Please. What I'll leave is one last thing, and this is, I just wanted to say, I know this is, y'all can read this quote, because this is what, I listened to this song. It was written by a gentleman named Mike Reener. He's won 4 Grammys, Render. But he won 3 Grammys last year, but was arrested at the Grammy Awards. So y'all can look that up on the internet too. He says, "Life is a rare thing. Life is a rare thing. We rise, we fall, even when the back to the wall. I find a way I can maintain. Yeah, treat MLK like my memory lane. Ain't no feeling the same. Hope you feeling my pain. I hope I put blood, sweat, and tears in the game. Ain't no feeling the same. I hope you feeling my pain." So that's all I got. Thank you for my time.